Hey, what's going on, everybody? Yeah, Danny Richardson here, and WCPW took the week off. I don't know if, in fact, they are just editing season 2, or if Adam Blampier and Big Damo actually went to the amusement park. Either way, though, there was no show this week, which means there was no WCPW review or unofficial top 10 or recap video. So yeah, and I'm still kind of a week away from starting the main event, but I figured, you know what, let's have a little bit of fun anyways. So this is going to be the 5 count challenge. And basically I'm just going to ask 5 very basic pro wrestling questions, to get to kind of know who who's watching my videos out there. I'm going to ask you guys 5 questions. I'll answer them as well, and then I'm going to challenge you guys to leave me a video response with your answers. Leave the link down below, because I want to watch. I want to watch them. And the reason I'm doing this is I am new to the YouTube wrestling community, so I just kind of want to get to know people who are watching my videos, and what better way to get to know each other than with the 5 count challenge. So, question 1: who is your all-time favorite wrestler? For me personally, I have to go with Scott Hall or Razor Ramon, whichever one you prefer. And the reason behind this is, I'm going to show my age here, I'm 31 years old. I was born a Hulkamaniac. I was born in 1985, huge Hogan fan, and was until like 91, 92, when he just kind of faded away. And I remember seeing Razor Ramon first. At that age, I'd never seen Scarface, so I had no idea that he was ripping off character or anything like that. But dude, just loved the character of Razor Ramon. And once again, I've always been a good guy. I've always I was the perfect WWE fan, because as a kid, I believed what they were telling me. That's the good guy, cheer the good guy. That's the bad guy, cheer the bad guy. But then here came Razor Ramon, who just flipped my world upside down. He was so fucking cool, and I didn't want to boo him. I was like, no, I like this guy. I was 7, 8 years old. Yes, this guy's awesome. He was just dripping machismo. And so, like I said, that was the first time I ever actually started cheering a bad guy. It never happened before him. And then another first came years later when he left WWF and appeared in WCW. I was always aware of WCW. I even had some action figures, but I never watched it. Didn't care to watch it. I was a WWF kid, just what I was raised on. But and I lived way out in the country. We didn't have cable or something like that, so I had antenna, and I only got maybe 1 or 2 wrestling shows a week. We didn't get Raw or nothing like that, or Nitro, but and I had a subscription to WWF magazine and Pro Wrestling Illustrated. But whenever I heard that Hall showed up over there, I was like, what? Oh shit! So I switched over and started watching WCW, and I was like, oh wow. Of course, I didn't get the news until months later. So when I started watching, Hogan was already the third man, all that stuff. But yeah, first guy to get me to start cheering the bad guys, and first guy to get me to watch WCW. So for that alone, he's my favorite wrestler. So, all right, question 2: what is your favorite, or who is your favorite all-time tag team? This was a tough one for me. I'm not going to lie. There were several that just came to mind. But if I'm just going to try to pinpoint down, I'm going to go with the Legion of Doom or Road Warriors. Just because this is the first team I knew that was very... And then, of course, I know they're not. There's been a million teams like this, before and after. But it's the first team I kind of recognized as being this international tag team. Once again, just being a kid, but reading, PWI, that, oh wow, they've traveled to Japan, and, they've won titles over there, and of course they was in the NWA, and they went to WCW, and it just seemed like everywhere they went, they would rack up some tag gold. And the only other team I can think of that kind of had, and I know there's others, but, just top of my head, the other team would be Team 3D, because that's another team that, racked up, not just the ECW gold, but the WWF. When the invasion happened, they won the WCW titles, and of course they went to TNA. And, I don't know, even though it's all, it's all fake or whatever, I'm drawn to that. I'm like, oh wow, these guys are multi-promotional, champions. So the fact that, Road Warriors did all that, I was a fan. Plus, I just liked the look. I guess as a kid, I was a fan of, the face paint, the huge, shoulder pads with spikes. I mean, they were larger than life, and huge fan of them right there. So, yeah, I'm going to Legion of Doom. Had kind of a tragic end there toward the end, I guess, with the whole real life alcohol problems, but then of course they incorporated it into the storyline, which I just thought was ridiculous, but they had an awesome run, before then. Once again, as I got older, I went back and watched their old NWA stuff, which was great and everything, so. Alright guys, question number 3. What is your favorite finisher? Favorite all-time finisher? Simple, Diamond Cutter. I'm not the Ace Crusher, not the RKO, the Diamond Cutter. Big fan. Orton maybe gotten better with it since, but I just know I quit watching the product, the WWF product, WWE product in 07, so I don't know, maybe he's gotten better. But he was like this half-ass, like he'll just run and great. His fingertips are barely touching the guy's back of the head. It just looks sloppy as fuck. And just kind of watching some highlights recently, he comes out of nowhere with it. No, he don't. He don't come out of nowhere. They just zoom the camera in on whoever he's fighting, so then it looks like he came out of nowhere. It's like, I'm gonna come out of nowhere. Fuck you. But Diamond Cutter, he would hit that from not just out anywhere, but from any position. Like literally, just how he would just he came out of nowhere. He came out of nowhere with it. Yeah, always my favorite finisher right there. Every time there was any kind of video game that had to create your own wrestler, and I'd create my guy, which was always and. I always try to keep it realistic, so I was always like this little short fat guy in every wrestling game I ever had. But guess what? My attributes were maxed out, and I had the Diamond Cutter, which I called the Sling Blade. That was what I named it. But anyways, Diamond Cutter for me. Question number 4. All-time favorite women's wrestler. For me, Trish Stratus. And very simple. I'm not a fan of divas. I'm just not. I know some people are, whatever. I always preferred women wrestlers because fuck, that's what we were doing. Like if I want to watch half-naked women fooling around with each other, there's a thing called pornography that any of us can access at any time, especially with the old internet here. So when I'm watching wrestling, I want to watch wrestling. I don't care, So what always impressed me about her was it's kind of neat because she was kind of bookend there, like before her run. The women's division was getting a little stale, so it did become kind of you had like Deborah, you had BB, and I don't know who the cat. I mean, it was just like Terry Reynolds. It was just more tits and ass. That's all it was. Ironically, she came in with a group, TNA, but whatever. It was, it was all tits and ass. And of course, they kind of incorporated her into that, but she kind of broke out of that. And even during her run, yes, there were lingerie pillow fights and evening gown matches and whatnot, but she still she fought so hard to legitimize women's wrestling. Like that was the women's revolution. I thought that Divas Revolution bullshit. No, that was and not just her. I mean, there was others. Lita and Jazz and Gail Kim, Victoria. I mean, Molly Holly. I mean, there's a ton of them there. And the thing is, after she kind of broke in, it kind of was taken seriously again. You actually had a decent women's division. Unfortunately, and I'm not singling anybody out, but it seems like Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson kind of came in, it kind of shifted back to just tits and ass. And once again, when I left, it was still the women's title. And then I remember overhearing somebody say, I was like, who's the women's champion? And they're like, oh no, it's not the women's champion anymore, it's the Divas champion. It's like, fuck you, this is why I quit watching right there. Glad to hear it's back. Glad to hear that, Charlotte and Sasha Banks and this, new generation have, really kind of taken, the steps to, legitimize women's wrestling again, so that's awesome. But yeah, for me, all-time favorite female wrestler is Trish Stratus, because, once again, and to watch her, because if you watch her early on, she wasn't the best wrestler, but she kept working. I mean, she was one of the hardest workers, and by the end of her run, she was great. She was she was a legitimate. You watched her and you believed her matches. So, and her feud with Lita was just top notch. So, yeah. So there's mine. And the 5th question, and the final question, which I don't know if it really applies today or not. There ain't a whole lot out there, but this is of all time because when I was watching as a kid, it was everywhere. All-time favorite manager. All-time favorite manager. And for me, it's always been Bobby the Brain Heenan. I know, I'm old. He was great. He was just the perfect package. You wanted to see him get his ass kicked, but he was great on the mic. And it always felt like he was of all the heel managers in the WWF in the 80s and early 90s, it just always felt like he was the top one. Not to say that Jimmy Hart didn't have his main event guys and Slick, but it seemed like it was always Heenan that was constantly attacking Hogan or whatever, or trying to, get, he was chasing the title more than, the wrestlers were, it felt like. But no, was always a big fan of Heenan. I thought he was you know, even as a kid, you know, I'm supposed to be booing this guy, but I really liked him. I was like, he's just funny, you know. It's you love to hate him, you know. And I just, you know, he was great on the mic, and then of course, you know, he would later transition into a commentator, and of course, he's my all-time favorite commentator as well. But yeah, just. So guys, there it is. 5 questions. I'll go through them again. Your favorite all-time pro wrestler, all-time favorite tag team, favorite finisher, all-time favorite women's wrestler, and all-time favorite manager. So once again, challenge is laid out. Do a video response. I want to hear, you know, your answers and your reasons behind these. And yeah, once again, come back to this video. Drop the video response. Or the link to the video response down below. So I'm interested, you know, see what you guys are doing. And that's all I got. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Of course, you know, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. Share this video. You can follow me over on Twitter at WCPW Review Guy 1. And of course, show this video some of that thumb and love. That's all I got, guys. Till next time.